So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nahal McGarreby, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's press briefing. Before we begin, on behalf of the Unified Command, I would like to announce that a community open house will be held this coming Saturday, May 30th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The event will be held at the Elks Lodge, number 613, 150 North Kellogg Avenue in Goleta, California. All members of the community are invited to attend, where they can speak with the responders and learn more about the ongoing response. So if you'd like any more information about that, please see me after the press conference, and I'd be happy to provide you with more information. So the speakers for today's press briefing are Yvonne Adassi, that's Y-V-O-N-N-E, Adassi, A-D-D-A-S-S-I, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Assistant Deputy Director. Don Patterson, D-O-N-P-A-T-T-E-R-S-O-N, from the Office of Emergency Management. California Department of Fish and Wildlife Captain Mark Crossland, that's M-A-R-K-C-R-O-S-S-L-A-N-D. Rick McMichael, R-I-C-K-M-C-M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Senior Director of Operations, Plains All-American Pipeline, and Patrick Hodgins, P-A-T-R-I-C-K-H-O-D-G-I-N-S, Senior Director of Safety, Security for Plains All-American. We're going to begin with brief statements from the participants, and then we're going to open up the floor to your questions. As a reminder, there will be one question and one follow-up question per person, and the time frame for the briefing today will be about 30 minutes.
Good afternoon. Just for point of clarification, I'm the Deputy Administrator of the Office of Spill Prevention and Response. I don't think I got a promotion since I've been here. No, that's okay. So I will be speaking on the volunteer efforts. As you know, the state of California, as well as several local counterparts, have been coordinating the volunteer efforts. We had our first 4-hour hazardous safety operations emergency training yesterday. We trained about 95 members of the general public, as well as several tribal monitors and several CERT volunteers as well. Today we had our first beach deployment of 20 volunteers to participate in oil beach cleanup at Goleta Beach County Park. Tomorrow there'll be another beach cleanup volunteer activity, as well as 2 additional trainings on Thursday, May 28th, that will last 4 hours. So we'll have them 8 to 12 and 1 to 5. And another beach cleanup is currently scheduled for Saturday. I do realize there is some overlap with the open house. Please keep in mind that these beach cleanups are also based on operational needs, so we don't always know where the volunteers are going to need to be at any moment in time. Again, folks need to be trained before they go out, and we need to be able to coordinate them. We are utilizing volunteers from this community, obviously, to give them back the opportunity to contribute in our cleanup efforts and to get back on the beaches that everybody loves so much. So in that, we thank you all for the outpouring of support to help in a meaningful way, to a lot of the local businesses who have donated food and water and good wishes to all of us. Members of the public who are currently still interested in assisting are required to be at least 18 years of age and in good health. Volunteers are required, as I said, to register at the CalSpillWatch website at calspillwatch.dfg.ca.gov, and then click on the Refugio incident, or it also may just say volunteer forum right now. We're trying to make the website a little bit easier for folks. If you go ahead and type in CalSpillWatch into Google, you can easily find the location for more information. And I also, at this point, want to give a special shout out to CERT volunteers that have been so instrumental in helping the state of California to offer these volunteer opportunities. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. First, I would like to thank the Unified Command for their support and willingness to hear our local concerns, and especially for taking the time to present at the Board of Supervisors hearing today. Over 300 county personnel approximately have been and remain engaged around the clock in ongoing participation, cooperation, and support. Numerous county departments continue to support the incident response. In addition to the ones I've already mentioned, they are the County Executive Office, Public Works providing signage and caution for road closures, Fire and Sheriff providing ongoing operational and logistical support, including security, cleanup, medical, and coordinating feeding operations for the thousands of workers that have been out in this effort. Planning and Development are monitoring the restoration of the release site. Public Health is conducting testing and monitoring at local beaches. Auditor Controller to ensure the accuracy of financial reporting. General Services providing facilities, IT, and contractual support. And the cities of Santa Barbara, UCSB, Goleta, and the other surrounding jurisdictions have all been assisting in the joint effort, and we appreciate their support.
Good afternoon, everyone. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife continues its commitment to restore the environment to its natural state. The fisheries closure remains in effect for public safety, and the department's law enforcement vessels are patrolling the area. We continue to encounter commercial fishermen and anglers on the water. The geographic boundaries of the closure include coastal areas from Cañada de Alegria at the western edge to Coal Oil Point at the eastern edge. The Unified Command has a map available to everyone on the Refugio, response.com, and Cal Spillwatch websites. They also contain the coordinates for easy GPS plotting. Please remember that wildlife is mobile and moves much faster than oil. So oiled animals have been spotted outside of the spill area, and capture teams are working to bring them into the wildlife care facilities. Please report any sightings of any oiled animals to the Oiled Wildlife Care Network at 1-877-823-6926. When doing so, please provide the best description you can of the animal and the situation, along with the location, so our teams can recover the animal. So here are the wildlife totals as of last night. We had 13 dead birds on arrival at our facilities, 8 mammals dead on arrival. There have been 25 oiled birds captured and a total of 18 mammals captured overall. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Rick McMichael, Senior Director of Operations for Plains All-American Pipeline. Today marks 1 week since the release from Line 901. This past week has been a very difficult period for this community and this beautiful environment. While we have said it often, as far as I'm concerned, we cannot express enough how much we regret the disruption this incident has caused in the community. We are focused on cleaning up this area as quickly as possible. I want to thank our federal, state, and local partners, as well as all the fantastic volunteers for helping us make as much progress as we have. The passion of these volunteers that they have brought to both their training and to their work, especially on a holiday weekend, speaks very highly of this community. All of us at Plains, thank you for your dedication and commitment. Your efforts has led to the significant progress we have made over the past week. Although some areas, excuse me, let me briefly summarize the progress and activities that have taken place in each of the 5 areas we addressed since yesterday. On the water, nearly all the visible oil sheen has been removed. 16 vessels are continuing to skim the water, and boom continues to be deployed to collect the remaining sheen. We have been advised by experts with significant experience in the Santa Barbara area that some of the oil sheen seen on the water is associated with natural seeps that have been occurring for hundreds of years. Our boats have continued to skim some of this oil as well. On the beaches, workers continue to manually clean oil from the cliff faces and the large stationary rocks, as well as to collect oil seaweed and kelp from the shoreline. On the bluffs, the area west of the southbound 101, we have completed preparing the area for cleaning and are awaiting on approval from Unified Command to proceed. In the culvert area, our work continues. Our crews have walked the entire length of the culvert to review the area, the results of our initial cleaning. We are making progress, although some areas will require additional cleaning. At the release site, we have removed substantially all of the oily soil and placed it in bins with the exception of the immediate area adjacent to the affected portion of pipeline. The remainder of our efforts in this area have been focused on executing the work order approved by PHMSA and the Unified Command for uncovering and removing the affected segment of pipe. We began the process of uncovering the pipe early this morning so that we can remove the affected section of pipe. The work plan has very specific and deliberate steps that we are following, and we do not yet have a timeline for when that work plan will be completed. In addition to PHMSA, officials and representatives of the Unified Command who are observing the excavation, a metallurgist is on site to ensure the condition of the pipe are preserved for proper analysis. As we remove the affected section of pipe, protective measures will be taken to ensure any oil residue in the pipeline is captured and that the pipeline is wrapped to preserve its condition during transport. The affected section of pipe will be sent to an independent third-party laboratory for metallurgical testing to aid in the investigation into the cause or causes of this unfortunate accidental release. The final report is expected to take weeks to months to complete and will be provided to PHMSA. As soon as we remove the affected portion of pipe, we will install a new section to allow us to empty the remaining oil from the pipeline. This work will continue into tomorrow. Since we met yesterday, we have received a number of follow-up questions regarding the valve configuration on this pipeline. I would like to revisit that topic. Line 901 pipeline is federally regulated and has been engineered to meet those standards. Line 901 is equipped with 1 check valve and 3 remotely controlled motor-operated valves along its 11-mile route. A check valve is an inline device that automatically closes if oil were to reverse flow in the pipeline due to an abnormal operating condition. The remotely controlled motor-operated valves are operated by our Midland Control Center via a supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA system, which provides it real-time operating information via satellite. Our operators in the Midland Control Center monitor flows and pressures on a 24-hour basis and have the ability to remotely start and stop pumps and open and close motor-operated valves. The valves on line 901 will automatically shut at the press of a button from our control center. If anybody thinks that these valves require that a person be dispatched to the site in order to close a valve, then they are wrong. Now let me make a few comments about the operation of our pumps, which are located at pump stations along the pipeline. Pumps move oil through the pipeline. and are equipped with controls that are programmed to automatically shut down under certain operating conditions. All of our pump stations are equipped with pressure monitoring devices that will automatically shut down if operating pressures exceed maximum discharge or minimum suction thresholds. As we have said before, we do not feel it is prudent to install an automatic shut-off valve for safety reasons. While these types of valves may be appropriate for use in the movement of compressible gases, they are not considered to be appropriate for use in the movement of incompressible fluids. Line 901 is a large diameter, high volume crude oil pipeline. Automatically closing a valve on an operating pipeline such as this increases pressure, which could create an unsafe condition. The use of these valves could have the unintended consequence of pressuring the line beyond its maximum operating pressure. It's like slamming your car into park while you're traveling down the freeway. It is much safer for a human controller who understands the hydraulics of a crude oil pipeline to shut it down using a planned sequence of steps, rather than for a computer to automatically close a valve on oil that is traveling in a confined space under high pressure. Other than reverse flow check valves, to our knowledge, the use of automatic shutoff valves on liquid pipelines in the United States is very uncommon due to the overpressure risk. Finally, I want to remind everyone in the community about our claims line. For those who have questions or who would like to submit a claim, they can call 866-753-3619. We are actively addressing claims as they are received. We regret any impact these individuals may have had and are working diligently to provide relief. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to open it up to any questions. Go ahead, Javier.
Yeah. Have you guys gotten down to the release point where the pipe broke? And if you have, what does it look like? And if you haven't, when you'll get to that point of the pipeline?
Javier, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. Have you gotten down to where the pipeline ruptured? And you dug down to it, and have you seen it?
And again, we're spending all day today to prepare that line for excavation and removal of the line tomorrow. So it's underway at this point in time.
And have you started on the pig and dig process, and any updates on that?
Again, we're still working on the plan to achieve that.
Yep, go ahead.
For planes as well. For Rick McMichael, how many people are watching this section of pipeline? You were talking about the valves earlier and that they could shut it down from the control room. How many people were watching it at the time of the spill?
The control room is a 24-hour-a-day, 365-day-a-year operation. The pipeline is constantly monitored by our personnel there.
But how many people?
I'll have to get back with you on the total number of people in the control center.
And how many miles of pipeline does each person look at?
I'll have to get back with you on that. I don't know.
I'm getting some emails about questions about the volunteers. A is you trained 95 people, only 20 went to Galena Beach today, a week after the spill. B is how do you clean the rocks that are Refugio that we saw last night? Still pretty blackened.
So the question is that we've trained 75 volunteers so far. We had 20 out today. If you go out to Refugio, the rocks still look fairly blackened, and so kind of that doesn't seem to match up, I'm assuming. Yeah. So I think I talked a little bit about this yesterday, and that is the process that we go through to determine the best cleanup method. I know that they are working right now on what we call a shoreline treatment recommendation for Refugio, as well as other shorelines with that kind of cobble boulder characteristic, because it's not just the oil that might still be on the rocks themselves, which are probably more, I was out there yesterday, it's probably more like a coat. It's not quite a stain. But we're also wondering about the oil that might be stuck in between the rocks and how it is that we need to get that out. Well, you know, as I said also before, this is an archaeological and tribally sensitive sites. So obviously we want to be mindful of the cleanup operation not making the impact worse.
Why use 20 volunteers when you train so many?
So we used 20 volunteers yesterday, or I'm sorry, today. Thank you. We used I'm losing track of time. We used 20 volunteers today to see how the process went for us, because we wanted to get out any bugs, because obviously if we had a large number of volunteers and we couldn't sustain them over a beach, that would not be a good thing as well. So we plan to have more volunteers out the next tomorrow. Tomorrow? No, hold on a second. Yes, tomorrow. And then, I'm sorry. Yes, so thank you. Tomorrow and then over the weekend as well, depending on operational need.
And you're weighing what they find? You're like putting it somewhere and weighing it?
Yes, so that's a very good, I'm sorry. So the question is, are we weighing what we're finding? So all oil, whether it's oiled seaweed or oiled rocks or sediments, etc., they all go into what we call roll-off bins. They might have other names for them as well. And then at that point, it is determined how much oil has been recovered. So, and then it has to be properly disposed of. So yes, absolutely. Questions for me or somebody else?
For Fish and Game, actually.
Okay, good.
Fish and Wildlife.
Sir.
You guys have given sort of daily tallies of the number of birds and whatnot. What sort of estimates have you made of the unseen tallies? Obviously, there are a lot more than the few that actually end up in your hands. I would assume that'd be probably greater than what you've seen, but I'd like you to comment on that, please.
I'll defer to Dr. Sicardi here.
Mike Zaccardi from UC Davis Oil Wildlife Care Network. Currently, what we're involved in is response operations. So it's getting out, collecting those observable oiled animals we can with the experts that are out there, bringing them into our facilities, getting them the best care possible. Simultaneously, there is also a process called natural resource damage assessment. What that is determining the overall impacts to the populations that may be out there. Part of their estimates are the animals that are actually in our hands. Part of their estimates are going to be those animals that we have not yet been able to collect. At the end of the response, the idea is bringing those two together to get the best estimate possible on the impacts.
Do you have any sense of the magnitude of the latter?
We don't at this time, again, because it's a scientific process. We have scientists in the field collecting that information, trying to make sure that that estimate is as accurate as it can be at the end of the effort.
As far as the contaminated materials go, has it been determined where they will be sent to and how they will be transported?
The contaminated soils is being removed and put into roll-off boxes. They will be classified, that soil will be classified, and our environmental experts will make a determination about which sort of disposal would be appropriate for that material.
I'm told that some people are recycling the oil out of Ventura Harbor. That was in the Ventura Times Star last week. Is that true? And is there a way, since it's just local media now, to go and video on the ranch the pipeline that's coming up today?
I might have to jot that down and maybe get back to
Ventura
you.
County Star reported that some of the barges are bringing a boat into Ventura Harbor to recycle the oil that's coming up from the sheen. Question 2 is, since it's really just local media at this point, video-wise, could we go onto that ranch and video? We're videoing at this point across the coast highway, that's showing that you guys are over by the pipe. But since it's being dug up today, can we go as guests and video at least 60 seconds of workers pulling pipe?
I'll follow up with you on that. Any other questions?
Yes, for
Yes,
the
sir.
pipeline folks. Do you guys intend to replace your pipeline and get back operations back to normal before you figured out what happened?
If I understood the question, are we going to do what again?
Replace
Again, right now, the pipeline is shut down. We are working with PHMSA, who oversees the regulation of that pipeline. And at this point in time, until we come up with the inspection results, we don't have any information to go from at this point.
Do you know how much money you're losing a day by having it closed? And have any claims financially been handed out?
So we do have the claims number that has been out there. As far as the costs, I don't have any numbers at this point in time. What's really important to us at this point in time is the safety of our responders, the safety of the public, minimize any further impact to the environment, and get it cleaned up and back to the way it should be.
But let's say a fisherman has a mortgage on a boat. Have you cut him a check beforehand?
Again, I'm not going to speculate, but again, we have a claims process. It's up on our website, and it has the various steps to go through to get a claims processed. So I do encourage anybody who feels they've been impacted by this unfortunate accident to please go to our website, refugiorelease.com, and you will see the steps to take to go through the process. Thank you.
A couple of follow-up questions for the claims folks. You mentioned earlier about the control room. Are there alarms that go off when these things happen? I mean, obviously people are monitoring, but is there actually an alarm that says pipe number 901 is having a problem?
Yes, there are. Yes, there are many alarms on a pipeline that we monitor continuously on a 24-hour basis.
And then I'm curious, what kind of pressures are we talking about in a normally operating pipeline?
Pipelines are different, and I can't speak to this one. I'd have to get back with you on that pressure. Yeah.
And then one last question.
Yeah, could you walk us through what the work plan says you have to do, or what the agreed upon work plan is to excavate? You said the work plan was approved.
The work plan is a very lengthy process. We'll be happy to get back with you with that later.
Could we get a copy of the work plan?
Again, we'll get back to you with that.
Can tankers be used to carry this oil in the interim? Are tankers being used?
I wouldn't have any information on that.
So that concludes the press briefing today. If there's any other follow-up questions, please feel free to see me. I'll get all of your information so that I can take it back to the Joint Information Center and get back to you as soon as I get back in there.